It's been great. Easy flight over. Guys caught up on sleep best they could. Had some productive meetings this morning. Came over here. It's an unbelievable facility. A lot of history here, from what I've read, and couldn't be a better day here.
And health-wise, just quarter rails only went on the
Yeah.
report. That's not here.
Yeah, that's here. Yeah, CP is going to be questionable. Had another good week. See what it looks like Sunday, and then Josh Ali will be out.
Yeah. And what will some of the keys to watch when you all play the Jaguars on Sunday?
Yeah, I mean, I've been part of this game now going a third time, as assistant. Obviously, we were over here 2 years ago. Really enjoyed coming over here. Both teams dealing with the same obstacles. So, how you handle the week, prepare like you do any week in the NFL, and get ready to roll. And so it's a talented team. Every week's a challenge. We know that. It should be an exciting matchup. Yeah. I love that question. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. That's near and dear to my heart. You must be studying the tape. Keith does a lot. Those are jobs that it's kind of like being the long snapper. Nobody really notices it, and they're reliable. Keith is the ultimate teammate, a really good special teams player. We have a lot of productive plays that Keith has a big part of. Well, every game's different. Sometimes you have different things. I mean, you play as a team. I mean, I think sometimes, especially in the year, there's a lot of ways you can manipulate stats. It's a team sport. You have different units and you have different lines, but you got to complement each other. So you don't want to give away hidden yardage. That can affect one side of the ball. Obviously, when you're able to control the clock, it certainly helps. When you can hold the ball away from the other team for 10 minutes, those are good defensive plays. Same thing in the kicking game. We have a really good punter in Bradley Pinion. You don't want to punt sometimes, but when you can play that game and pin them down and make them go 90, that's certainly advantage of the defense, which normally leads to advantage offense with the short field. So they all kind of complement each other. Every game's going to be different, but we're going to win and lose as a team.
What are things that you say went well that you want to do on Sunday?
Well, same thing. I mean, we're 2-1. The ultimate goal is to win the game. So obviously not very pleased. I mean, it's what the challenge is every week. When you're coming off a loss, it's going to leave a bad taste in your mouth. And we need to be the desperate team. We got to start. We got to start faster. We got to play clean, and we need to operate better. We didn't handle the road environment well. Played well at home, and that's a challenge. I mean, this will be. I know it's technically a Jaguars home game, but it'll be a great crowd. So it's kind of a somewhat neutral site. Hopefully, we've made some Falcon fans over here, and we're excited.
Coach, you've obviously got Bijan who's hit the ground running.
Yep.
You've got obviously so many bits of talent across the offense. How do you manage sort of sharing the targets?
Yeah, again, it's how the game's going, right? You have your plan, and then it's like that first game. We were in a short field a lot, got a lead, kind of leaned in the running game. Obviously, made us pretty productive in the red zone. The next week against Green Bay, very balanced. A lot of times it depends what they're trying to take away, which those guys can be very valuable in the passing game, which is not necessarily traditional drop back, or they may not be the first read, but if you're going to play everything, get out there and play deep, well, kind of go where they're not, and they're underneath, and they can eat up yards, and they're going to be. That's another part of the passing, and they can be effective. So that room is a huge part of our offense. You get Patterson back, that adds another element. He's a different player, and another guy that can line up in certain spots, can still carry the ball.
Yeah, Coach, last time over here, Kyle had a big game.
He did.
Yeah. How's that connection been with him and Desmond been developing?
Yeah, I think he saw some signs of it. Like I said early in the week, nothing to write home about. But the one thing that was starting to show was some of the drop back. The connection in the passing game, timing, all that stuff. As Kyle continues to work back to full, and Des, that connection, right? I mean, we got a lot of young guys at the skill. We got veterans on the O-line. And we got a lot of young guys on skill, but we need to continue to improve.
Coach, you talked about the kicking game a few minutes ago. How's Youngway been this week? Has he been a little bit up and down this season?
He's a tough-minded guy. you have to have a special mindset. Not only do you have to be talented to obviously put the ball through the uprights, or if you're a punter or a kickoff guy, but it's a unique mindset. And Young Way's hit a lot of big kicks in this league. You know, it's the roller coaster you ride in the NFL, right? He kicks some big kicks against Green Bay, ultimately the game winner, which he's done a lot in his career, especially in Atlanta. And then, last week, I mean, it happens sometimes. But he's got the right mindset. We got a lot of faith in Young Way. When he comes back, he just adds a different element and different game plans. Every defense is going to present different challenges, so that'll be week to week. But it's another option, guy that can do a lot for this team. Another guy that helps in the return game, part of the special teams. Really good football player, and we'll be excited when we get him back and he's rolling full speed.
So far this season, the Jags have struggled against the passing game. How important is it for your wide receivers to have a good game this weekend?
Every game's different. That's all I can tell you. It's a small sample size. They're a talented football team. So if people choose not to run, well, that's going to inflate some of the passing numbers. I'm sure they feel the same way. They're just trying to win a football game. So that's the give and take. And, you go into some games and they haven't been very good against the run, and they commit to it, and they're going to make you do something different. That's the challenge every week in the National Football League. And so this is a talented team. We got a lot of respect for it. It's only week 4, but both teams are coming off a loss. We got a lot to prove, as you should every week. But it'll be a fun challenge. I mean, they're a good football team. Yeah, it's like a slot receiver, right? I mean, I think when you get outside, those guys are used to playing. A lot of times you have the sideline as your help, right? So the routes you've seen out there, the closer you get to the ball in the NFL, the more things that happen, they happen quicker. And that's a little bit of adjustment to the game. And Clark's a good football player. We're really deep at that spot, which is good. You see a lot of young receivers that play inside. Sometimes it takes them a minute. He asked about the connection. A lot of time that slot receiver, there is a timing connection that takes time and reps and feel. But the future's really bright for Clark. If he had to start, I'd have tomorrow. We'd have a lot of faith in him. But it's good to have depth there. But that is a tough. The further you away from the ball, I would argue wide out corner. Sometimes it's easier because you're used to it, and you do have a sideline and some of the stuff. But when you get inside those numbers, there's a lot that goes on, especially pre-snap and post-snap.
You said earlier that this team needs to be the desperate team.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean by that? What do you need to see to kind of qualify that?
Well, it's a lot like life. I think we all fight being too comfortable. And I think the hardest challenge sometimes is to have that mindset, that edge. It shouldn't happen. We all know it, but I think if you look through the history of human nature, I think it's hard to fight, to stay that sharp. And it shouldn't take a loss to have to sharpen you. Sometimes it does. It kind of wake you up, and that's the journey of the NFL. And so you either adapt and you improve, and that's why even after wins, you talk about being objective, because there's some things that may get covered up. You may make a great play or two, but there's some things foundationally you're like, hey, we got to fix this, or this is going to be a problem later. So that's a challenge every week. That's why it's such an awesome game. It's a marathon, and that's the best way I can describe it, is keeping that edge, and that's going to be our challenge every week.
Yeah, Coach, your sense on how much Jeff Okudah will be able to play?
Yeah, hopefully it's a little bit more. When you're out for a month or you're coming back, it's hard to go from 0 to 100. But I thought, obviously, that'll increase. How much, how he's doing and how the game's going. But yeah, that's certainly the intent.
Coach, what's your message to the fans coming on Sunday? Basically their first time maybe seeing their team live. Do you have a little special message that you want to take?
Well, I think overall, I think you're seeing the popularity grow on American football. I think what people are realizing is there's so many moving parts. So I think it's a game for everybody. I think it's going to be exciting, whether you're really into the skill position stuff or the nuances in the kicking game, or you like the brute force that happens up front. It's kind of something for everybody, and you can feel the energy. Like I said, this is my 3rd time over here being a part of this game, and I was in Germany this summer doing a USO trip that we did a little bit of the NFL before they put those tickets. You can see how popular it's getting over there. It's exciting. So hopefully, I love the fans. I mean, I remember that in 18, the amount of energy that was in the stadium. So hopefully it continues to grow, and they see an exciting game. And you know, obviously we need to come away with a win.
Which fans cheer better, the Germans or the British?
I haven't been a part of that game, so I like the loaded question, but I have not been a part of the German game. So my bias is going to lead towards the English. Is that okay?